1411 is another massive patch as we've got 20 champions being adjusted and a bunch of item and rune changes as well. So by the end of this video, you're going to be completely caught up to speed with everything you need to know heading into next patch, which is set to go live one day later in the week than usual on Thursday, May 30th. And remember, if you're struggling to climb in League, Skill Capped is the only place that guarantees you're going to climb at least 5 divisions while actively using our service. Otherwise, you can claim a full refund. Now, we do this because our service really works, and this is the best time of the season to get in on Skill Capped, as we've just released tons of site-exclusive courses designed for you to power learn the most important concepts for climbing in League of Legends stupidly fast compared to those who don't use Skill Cap. Join today for unlimited access to the world's most famously effective League of Legends guides, and remember, one subscription gives you access to all of our other games as well. So, what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below to stop wasting time being hard stuck and get the rank you always wanted. And with that said, let's get into it. Let's start off the video by taking a look at all the item and rune adjustments. Absorb Life is actually getting a buff for this patch, which is a bit of a surprise considering it's been performing quite well on champs like Irelia, Yasuo, and Yone. So definitely a nice indirect buff to those champs for 1411. Cut Down has been underperforming in its new state throughout 1410, so it's buffed for the next patch with its damage amp dropping off when the enemy is at 50% health instead of 60%. Shield Bow is getting a pretty massive buff as the shield scaling will now start at level 8 instead of level 11, while the shield value is going up as well. Really nice buff for Yone and Yasuo, while a few ADCs like Samira and Draven may look to prioritize Shield Bow more often now. Lots of buffs are being issued to Static Shiv for this patch. The cost is being lowered, movement speed is being added, AD is being buffed, and attack speed will be buffed as well. It's not really a surprise that Riot has to circle back on Infinity Edge for 1411, as the 1410 buffs were just way too absolutely insane. For this patch, they're going to be nerfing the bonus crit damage on IE from 50 to 40%. Essence Reaver was hotfix buffed in 1410, and it's getting another buff for 1411 as the cost of the item is being reduced by 100 gold. The Collector is receiving a nerf as its lethality is being targeted, dropping from 15 down to 12. Now, we've seen lane swapping make a comeback in pro play as of recent, so Riot's looking to combat that by increasing the fortification damage reduction on top and mid lane towers from 50 to 75%. Now, what this means is that up until 5 minutes into the game, top and mid lane towers are now going to be 75% more difficult to take down. Riot overshot with the 1410 Draven hotfix nerfs, so they're circling back and giving him some buffs for 1411. Base passive gold on kill is going back up, being increased from 10 to 25. Passive stacks lost on death is buffed as well, as you're only going to be losing 50% of stacks instead of 75%. We've got just a few Gangplank buffs for this patch, as his base health is going up from 600 to 630, and armor growth is being increased from 4.2 to 4.7. Remember that the Collector and Infinity Edge are both nerfed for this patch though, so in the grand scheme of things, GP won't be gaining as much power as he probably should be with how weak of a spot he's already in. Gnar has been a pretty underwhelming solo queue champ for a while now, so a couple of buffs are being issued with his AD growth going up and QAD ratio in mini form being increased. Kha'Zix has been struggling in 1410 due to the changes to First Strike and removal of Futures Market, so Riot's throwing him a bone for this patch, increasing his damage on Q. Lulu's R is going to be buffed in 2 different ways for 1411, as the knockup duration is going up from 0.75 to 1 second, and R cooldown is being reduced at rank 1, going from 120 to 100 seconds. A bunch of buffs are being issued to Master Yi, as the removal of lethal tempo has weakened the champ pretty significantly. Health growth, AD growth, armor growth, and attack speed growth are all being increased. Nami's going to be buffed in a few ways, with her base AD being increased from 51 to 54. W mana cost at max rank is going to be lowered from 110 to 90. R slow is being increased as well, going from 50 scaling to 70% to just 70% at all ranks. Pantheon has a bunch of interesting buffs for this patch, as his W is being changed so that it now deals max health damage. E is being fundamentally changed as as well, as it will now grant bonus armor and magic resist on use. Singed saw a pretty big drop-off in power due to the recent nerfs to Ghost, so he's being brought back to life for 1411. 2 buffs are on the way as his Q-AP ratio is going up and our cooldown is going to be reduced. Nasus was another top laner who fell off pretty hard due to the Ghost nerfs, so he's getting a couple of buffs as well. AD growth is being increased, E mana cost is going down, while E armor shred is buffed. Smolder has been the weakest ADC throughout 1410, so a bunch of buffs are headed his way. Base AD is going up from 57 to 60. Q mana cost is being reduced from 23, scaling to 35 to just 25 flat. Q bonus physical and magic damage per crit chance is also going up. Hwei has become borderline OP as a result of Blackfire Torch being added to the game, so he's being nerfed this patch. QQ health ratio is going down from 4 scaling to 8% to 3 scaling to 7%. QAP ratio takes a hit as it's dropping from 62.5 to 50%. Irelia had shot up to being one of the best carries for top and mid lane in 1410, so she's being nerfed with her health growth going down. Jinx has remained one of the most OP ADCs after the ADC item rework, so her scaling strength is being nerfed with AD growth dropping. With Karthus becoming the best jungler in the game due to his ability to abuse Blackfire Torch with Liandris, Riot does have a nerf lined up for the champ in 1411. Q damage is what's being targeted as it's now going to be lowered. A couple of Mordekaiser changes are on the way, with his passive base damage per second being reduced from 5 scaling to 15 to just 5 flat. Q base damage is also being changed so that it's pretty similar early on in the game, but it'll become more nerfed the longer the games last. Taliyah has been a big winner from the Blackfire Torch introduction, so a direct nerf is heading her way as Riot will be reducing the damage on her Q. Camille has been one of the strongest top laners as of recent, so she's going to be receiving a few nerfs. Q movement speed is being reduced by 5% at all ranks, while R on hit base damage is dropping from 20 scaling to 40 to 5 scaling to 15. Sante has been a balance nightmare ever since his release, and Riot's taking another shot at combating his strength in 1411. Q mana cost is going from 28 scaling to 20 to just 20 flat. W max charge time is being lowered from 1.5 to 1 second. W damage reduction is dropping from 40 scaling to 65% to 30% flat. RW damage reduction takes a hit as well, going from 50 scaling to 75% to 60% flat. Our healing is going to be buffed, however, as the Omni Vamp is going from 10 scaling to 20% to 15 scaling to 25%. Riot's wanting to push Caitlyn away from the heavy AD stacking builds and onto more attack speed focused setups for 1411, and the way they're doing this is by increasing her attack speed ratio while nerfing the W headshot bonus AD ratio and also nerfing her bonus AD ratio on R. Okay guys, one last thing. Our rank up guarantee is absolutely insane. It's kind of like signing up for the gym and then just getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in Skill Capped. We obsess over making the best guides with the top players, the rigorous testing, and top-tier video editing to make your climb as easy as possible. If you're ready to level up, just visit skillcap.com and literally see the difference. So there you have it, guys. That's everything we should be looking forward to as 1411 is set to drop on May 30th. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.